Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and get inspired, because I unfortunately was not able to be here yesterday, but I get a lot of inspiration from early morning, and lastly from Ellen, because she has started her presentation while speaking about her daughter. So I get inspired, and I will speak about my daughter as well. It happened to my daughter, notwithstanding on which country, which city, that she has been in the noon, in the middle of the center, harassed by the person. She has spent 4 years preparing for the self-defense in the courses, and she could physically made the necessary. But she was afraid, and why she was afraid? Because actually nobody came to help her. Everybody around at the tram station or bus station or whatever it was simply indifferent. And this is the problem. Because there are inequalities in the world, there are inequalities in Europe, and we are somehow distant. While I have spent all my life teaching my 2 daughters to cherish the values, to cherish the equality, to fight against discrimination, it is the value which is still not broadly recognized and broadly defended. And this is mainly the problem that I am now working for as in the European Commission, because the European Union is the international organization in Europe which cherishes the core values, which are already inscribed in the Rome treaties, which are part of the Fundamental Charter, and which we are trying to promote, defend, and implement in the daily work. This is why we at the European Commission level proposed the strategic engagement for the gender equality in 2016 as a follow-up of the previous strategy. And what our aim in the Commission is actually to focus on several priorities. How to get more women into the labor market. And I think that Patrick Taran this morning already gave us a very black scenario about the demographic future of Europe and the world as well, while we do not have enough qualified and competent labor force. But we do, because we have a highly qualified, competent, and extremely workable, enjoying women around, which unfortunately they cannot participate in the labor market. And when they participate, sometimes it happens, and this is actually 16% of all the working labor female force in Europe that is observing the gender pay gap. And this gender pay gap, unfortunately, brings them to the pension gap, which is even larger. It's about 40%. And then, so we're facing as well the situation that the women are underrepresented in the decision-making positions. Today, so the standard pro rata per European Union, it's about 24% only. And this is very little, because if, and Elena has spoken about it, if we do not have women in the decision-making positions in the companies, it's very difficult to give the culture of inclusiveness, of fighting against the stereotypes. It's very important as well in order to give the better results in the businesses of the companies, because we have the statistics many statistics which proves that gender well-balanced companies, they have much better economic results as well. I have started this with the harassment on the street, but the violence against women is another phenomenon that we are in the Commission fighting progressively. This year we have focused actually and dedicated to the focus action on fighting the violence against the women in all the aspects as we know. And last but not least, so we are engaged as well in promoting the rights of women and equality worldwide. I think that I have already mentioned the very fact that the women are a very highly skilled and qualified labor force. When they leave the universities, so they are even in majority comparing with the male students. But somehow we are losing them, and you said that retention is a very important factor as well. And this is why the Commission, so we are currently negotiating a proposal which we presented in April this year, which is called Work-Life Balance. And I'm once again inspired by Ellen because she mentioned several elements that we have proposed Europe-wide. We have proposed paternity leave for the parents to share the burden of the young mother. We have proposed as well the paternity leave, a minimum level, 4 months, for both working parents to be paid at the minimum of the sick pay leave and to be able to be taken until the 12 years of the age of the child, while introducing a new element which is non-transferability. So we are trying to give choices towards the families forward in Europe to have the possibility for both parents to take the leave and to share the responsibilities. We are proposing as well the flexible working patterns, part-time, home office, telework, short jobs, etc., to be introduced by the companies, by the public sector, in order to help the families to better reconcile the private and professional life. Last but not least, what is important as well, and I'm a little bit advancing, we are about to propose a new action plan precisely to combat the gender pay gap. This month, on the 20th of November, we will come with a set of proposals which will accelerate the work in this field. Probably I should have mentioned as well that we are not only proposing to the actors like governments and the private companies to act, but we are acting us directly as well. You have seen the video message from Commissioner Oettinger speaking about the diversity strategy of the European Commission. We have put forward exactly the same measures as we are proposing to the member state to put forward in order to get certain level of the participation of the women in the management positions. We have set an aim. It is not a fixed target. There are no sanctions for the worldwide. We are proposing that 40% would be the fair share of women in management positions in the boards. And we have set the same target actually for European Commission officials. Of course, all the time, so it is based on the merits. But whenever there is the same merit, we ask member states, companies, but as well European institutions, to give a preference to the gender which is underrepresented, which means that this is not only gender focused, but this is underrepresented gender. And we are addressing the situation with many specific measures: training, coaching, mentoring, conscious bias trainings, etc., in order to address it inside of the European institutions to make sure that we are able to deliver on that. I will probably stop here, and but maybe last comment, because I heard it yesterday. You have discussed as well about other forms of discrimination, that there was too much focusing on gender. So maybe just one specific comment, that in our work-life balance proposal, we are addressing as well by specific mean the situation of the carers. And we are introducing a special leave, 10 days, the right to ask for a special leave, where you have to care about the relative which is in difficult situation. Should it be because of disability? Should it be because of sickness? Or it is for the elderly people, etc. Once again, to give the families the proper chance to make a necessary choice and to better combine the professional and familiar responsibilities. I'll stop here, but I'm looking forward to discussion afterwards.
Yes. Thank you, Irena.